everyone, it's Michelle with sweetpeafarmny, and today I'm going to show you guys a quick needle felting tutorial and how to make these cute little snowmen. It's Christmas time, so lots of people like to decorate their homes with snowman decorations, and these guys have endless possibilities. They make great gifts. They're very easy, so it's a great beginner project, and you can make them as like ornaments to go on the tree, or you can make them flat on the bottom so that they will stand up on their own and sit wherever you like. And I'm teaching a class on this tonight, so I thought for the people that came to the class and wanted to make the second one, when I do a class I always send everyone home with enough materials to make a second one at home at their leisure. And so I thought it'd be a good idea to put together a quick video today on how to do it, so in case the people from the class want to make their second one but they can't remember something, or just to give them a little refresher course if there's some time that goes between. So let's get started. So the materials we need to make the snowman for today are, of course, your felting needle that you went home with. Hopefully yours didn't break. I also use this multi-felting tool, which is just 3 altogether. Your felting sponge, which I just get the car wash sponges at Walmart. That's what my kits come with because I like them and they're fun colors. You can use any sponge. I took this one on the plane with me on a trip we went to recently, which Wool Buddy makes, and it's just made of wool. It's a little bit smaller, so I thought it went good in my carry-on. This one is just pretty small, so I'm used to working on a different surface, but either way, you can use whatever sponge or felting surface you need. White wool for the snowman, obviously. Brown wool for his little arms. I make the arms pretty simple. I've done arms before with other twigs coming off or with mittens. I think it looks just as cute with just the stick arms. So that, black wool for eyes and buttons, orange for our carrot nose, and then whatever color you want to make the hat and the scarf in. So those are endless possibilities. All right. Okay, so to get started, we are just going to take a hefty chunk of our white wool and roll it very tight, kind of the length of your finger there. You want to keep the wool rolled very tightly. The tighter you roll it, the less poking you're going to have to do. So we have it rolled up pretty tight, and we're just going to stab along where we stopped, where the wool stopped with the roll, to kind of hold it into place. And then if you have a multi-tool, you can switch over to it. If you don't, you can keep going with this. And you want to make sure that the bottom you stab in flat from the beginning. It's just going to be easier that way. And you can make this as firm or as squishy as you want. It depends on what I'm making. If I care about the firmness, you know, it being super firm. The firmer it is felted, the less it's going to like fly off. You see how there's these little loose fibers? Well, the more you felt it in, the less little fibers are going to be loose and the less it's going to kind of ruffle up with time. But I always do suggest that you store these maybe with some lavender or mothballs, and you know, they're not intended to be played, you know, manhandled all the time. You know, a lot of people see them and think like, oh, they're toys. Well, no, they're not really intended to be toys. They're definitely, you know, meant to be decorations in one way or another. I do have little kids, and I've let my daughters, Eva particularly, the baby, has a cow that I made her, and she really loves it, and that's great, but I have to kind of go over it every couple weeks and just firm it up so that it doesn't become like a woolly mess. So you just continue to stab, and you can keep going with this, but for the sake of the video I'm not going to take too long, and you just want to test it out, make sure it'll stand up on its own, which this one's doing. Then you're going to want to take a smaller bit, and you can always add to it, so it's not a big deal if you are too small to begin with. But you want to roll it. We're going to make a ball, so you can either roll it into a cylinder and then bend the ends in, or however you want to do it. Remember to roll it tight and hold it tight until you get several stabs in to hold it in place. The tighter you hold it, the less stabbing you're going to have to do. My sponge has seen better days. I'm always like the last one to have a new sponge. I always forget to get them at Walmart, even though they're only like $2. Just want to keep rolling and stabbing. You can make your head big or little. It's totally your preference on what kind of look you like in snowmen. You do, you know, it's going to be a snowman, so it doesn't have to be super hard. I kind of leave mine a little squishy, and then you want to just place the head on and see if you like that. I think most of my snowman heads are a little bit bigger, but for the sense of the video and not making it take forever, I'm going to go with it. But you could wrap more wool around and stab on some more. Now to connect it, you just set it on top. You want all these loose fibers to stay up here because they're going to help you attach. And you just stab from the body to the head and then vice versa. And that will meld the fibers, you know, across and keep it together. My rooster is like crowing like crazy out there. I don't know what he's thinking. It's snowing, so. And if anyone would like to buy a kit, the kits come with the sponge and the needles and all the wool to make 2 snowmen for $20. When I go to teach the class, it costs a little bit more because I'm there teaching in person, and the place that holds the classes has to get a little bit of money from each class. So. But you can certainly just send me an email at sweetpeafarmny@yahoo.com or on any of our social media, and I would be happy to send you a kit to make these. So there is the body and the head, and now we're going to set that aside and make the arms. Now there's 2 ways to do the arms. You can either do 2 little rolls for each arm, which is probably what I'm going to do, or you can do 1 and then cut it in half. It just depends on your preference. But usually when you roll them, they're going to be tapered on each end a little bit, and I like that look better than, you know, if you just do 1 and then cut it. But it's totally up to you. So you just roll about 1.5 inches in length, and then you want to just stab along the length of it, being careful not to poke your fingers. Kind of roll it over. You want to do like all 4 sides kind of thing, just to roll it again. And one more time. So there's one little snowman arm, snow woman. You can make it a snow woman, snow baby. I've done snow women holding snow babies. I've done sports themed ones. I just did a family of like cowboy western themed ones. You can make the snowman any way you like, just by adding different little accessories. You don't even have to felt all the accessories. You can always like use buttons or, you know, other things to sew on them. Even though I hate sewing, you can sew into the wool and add decorations easily. And then if they have little fuzzers still too, you can always roll it in your hand, and that's going to kind of firm up those little fuzzers. So we're going to do that with both of them, and then we're just going to attach them 1 to each side. Now before you attach the arms, I know that I want this to be the face of my snowman, so I'm going to put his arms here. You kind of want to make sure that you have a good idea of which surface of the head you want the face to go on, because you're going to have to put the arms on either side. So you just stab around them at the base, and that'll be one arm. Make sure the other arm matches up, kind of. Again, they're snowmen, so they don't have to be perfect because most snowmen are made by little kids who are just having a good time. So you should be having a good time too. That's the whole point. Okay, 2 arms. This is the face because it's nice and smooth. All right, so now we're gonna lay the snowman down in front of us on the sponge, and I will probably get my black wool, give him a couple eyeballs just by rolling a teeny tiny bit of black between my fingers, and then stab it into place. And again, teeny tiny bit. Make sure they're kind of level with each other. Stab it into place. And just like that, we have eyeballs. I'm going to use the rest of this black and give him some buttons down the middle. It's the same procedure. You just take little tiny bits of black. Now I've got the last 2 bits, so I'm just going to roll it and stab it. Eyes and buttons. Alright, we just need the nose, the mouth, and the hat, and the scarf. Sounds like a lot, but it's not. Alright, the nose. We get our beautiful carrot orange here. We're going to start rolling it just like we did the arms into a cylinder, but this time we're going to want to taper it because it's a carrot, so we want to make it pointed on one end and wider on the other. So you just roll it in your fingers, make sure you keep the point on the carrot tighter, and then go out wider. And when you're stabbing it, do the same thing. You want to make sure you stab it into a triangle. There's one side. Then you always want to flip it over, stab it again on the other side, because there's always going to be little fibers. When you stab with your needle sends those fibers right through over into the sponge. So now I have a decent triangle, and now to make it more carroty shaped, I'm going to roll it so it's not flat. Kind of clean it up with your needle there if you got lots of loose ends. Roll it again. And then you want to kind of look at your snowman and decide where you want it on his face and stab it into place. Now with the ornaments, I don't put a mouth on them, and you don't have to. I don't know why I love little snowmen with no mouths, but I think they're super sweet. And by adding the mouths in, I just don't love it that way. But it's up to you. So you can leave it like that. You can put a mouth on. I've done the little crooked smile is one of my favorites. This is the more classic coal, beaded coal smile, but I think with this guy I'm going to do the crooked smile because it's my favorite. And for the beaded one, you just take even tinier than the eyes, and I usually do 5 little dots in place under the carrot nose there. You can do them as big or tiny as you want, but you usually want to do them tiny so there's definition between them. Or if you're going to do the crooked smile, you just kind of lay the wool in place and stab it where you want it to be. So I want to have a little line at the top of my smile, and at the bottom. So I just stab that line into place, and then in between I'm just going to stab it, make sure it goes into the right shape I want. The wool's only going to stay where you poke it, so it's not treacherous if you lay it out and it's not in the right place. It won't stay unless you poke it there. So now he's got like a super crooked smile, but I love it. I think it's fun. So now we'll go ahead and put his scarf on. I'm going to do red for this one, but you can choose whatever color you want, and usually at the classes I bring whatever. And you just take, a decent length of the wool you want for the scarf, and you're just going to wrap it around his neck like a scarf, and then hold it there, and you're going to want lots extra because that's what's going to get stabbed down. Then you just kind of poke that into place to hold the scarf around his neck. Poke it all the way around gently, And then you lay this excess down. And put that into place. And you could do a snowman with the 3 balls, and I do those for my larger snowmen that I make. I make, you know, 3 balls instead of just the body and the head. But for the little guys, it's harder to get them to stand up, I feel like, and I don't know. This is the way I like the littler ones. So I do my ornaments and my medium-sized snowman this size. So there he is with a scarf. You could wrap the ends of the hands if you want in a color to make mittens, but. And then for the last piece is the hat. I'm going to do a light gray hat, and you just want to kind of make a flat circle shape with your wool. Lay it down like that on your surface, and then just stab it into that flat circle. Now again, anytime you're doing a flat piece, all that crunchy sound you hear is my needles and the fiber going through into the sponge. So we're going to have to pick this up once it's relatively poked through and flip it over, because there's going to be lots of little flyaways that are the fibers that have poked into my sponge. And that's why these sponges get so beat up, because there's a lot of poking into it and fiber getting pulled out of it, and that just degenerates the shape of the sponge. So that's the shape we have now. This is the side we stabbed. This is the side that was on the sponge. We're just going to flip it, stab the other side. Try to keep it on your sponge, unlike me. Make sure you watch what you're doing and not the video, because then you'll stab yourself if you're not watching what you're doing. Now we've stabbed it on both sides, I'm just going to pick it up. Still our circle. I'm just going to kind of rub it between the palms of my hands to smooth out any excess. And then we have like a little pancake, and that's going to be the wide brim of his hat. So I just want to set that on his head and make sure it's where I want it. This might be a little bit bigger of a circle than I normally do, but that's okay. Like I said, they're all different, so you can make a bigger circle, you can make a smaller circle, whatever you like. So there's the brim of his hat, and now I'm going to make the tall part of his hat here, just by rolling the cylinder kind of short and stoutly. Rolling. Poke that into shape so it holds its place, and then keep poking around here. Just keep rolling it. So you've poked along all the edges. You want to leave the bottom of the hat kind of fringy, because that's the part you're going to stab into the flat part, and then you want to make the top hat flat, or the top of the hat flat. And it doesn't help when I have the tool right in the way of the camera. Right, so now we have this shape, fringy bottom, flat top, and we're just going to stab it into the middle of the snowman's head. Sounds violent, but you know what I mean. You just want to stab all that fringe that we left in the bottom around the edge. And there you have it. There's our little snowman. He needs maybe a little more stabbing on the bottom. If they don't stand up, just re-stab the bottom. So you get a nice flat even surface, and sometimes it takes a few tries. And there you go. That's it, guys. I hope that you enjoyed this quick and easy needle felted snowman tutorial. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with what's going on the farm and learn more about needle felting and fiber art. If you really like this video, make sure you hit that thumbs up and share it with your friends. We totally appreciate that. And it really makes our day when you guys let us know below. If you're new to felting, leave a comment, say hi, tell me where you're from, ask a question, all that stuff. So I hope you have a great rest of your day, guys. Thanks so much for watching.